I got a webcam. Also got a squishy ball. Anyway, welcome back. I'm recording this video on the 29th, which means it's probably going to go up on the 30th or the 31st, which means two things. First of all, Christmas just passed, so if you do celebrate Christmas, hope you had a good one. You celebrate something else, hope you had a good one. Or if you don't celebrate at all, hope you had a good time. But that also means that 2022 is right around the corner. So I hope you all are ready to bid 2021 farewell. 2022 is going to be a good one. Maybe. Anyway, what better way to end 2021 than with a cool, awesome, original, awesome YouTube video. We're doing a zombies map tier list. Now, I know you might be thinking, come on, man, this is overdone. Like, hey, shut up. I don't care. I want to do it. I want to show my true opinions, and I want to get yelled at. And don't worry, that will happen. Some of these rankings are definitely going to make a few of you upset, and that is funny to me. So this is obviously not my template. It's way too fancy to be my own template. I just found this one. I'll have a link to it down in the description because it's a nice looking template, and also, you know, credit. Since this list is completely subjective and it's my own opinion, the only thing I'm taking into account is simply what my heart desires. If I want to put Shadows of Evil in F, I'll do it. Nah, that is so stupid. I would never do something so foolish. And something that is important to note is that I tend to prioritize gameplay over story a lot. Alright, all that being said, I think we can get into it, but before we actually start ranking the things, I do need to make a few changes to this template. First thing I'm gonna do, F, absolutely not. That boy is called fart tier. Second thing I'm gonna do is actually add a row below fart tier. We're gonna make it that color, and we're gonna call this one no opinion. And I'm actually gonna go through that category first. By the way, I'm gonna try to do this pretty quick, just because I don't want to be sitting here for 3 hours trying to rank fucking Nuketown. So the first two maps that I'm going to put into the no opinion category are Call of the Dead and Die Rise. Both of these maps I've only played like a handful of times and mostly split screen. The next map that I'm going to put in here is actually going to be Origins. I've played Origins a good amount, but I've never actually taken the time to learn the map. Even with a lot of my favorite maps, if I just never took the time to learn them, I would probably not be a huge fan of them. Next up is Zetsubo. Zetsubo is the only Black Ops 3 map that I've literally never even touched. I've barely even watched this map on YouTube. Like, I really know nothing about Zetsubo. I've also never played Black Ops 4. So, alright, and that is our entire no opinion category. Now I can get into actually ranking the maps. I'm just gonna go in chronological order because I feel like that just makes the most sense. So, we are going to start with Noct. I think Noct belongs in C, just because you're not really allowed to put it any lower than that, but it also doesn't make much sense to put it any higher. Verrucht, I think, belongs in D, and honestly, I think that's generous. To be completely honest, if it weren't for all of the innovations that this map had, and all of the things it added, this map would easily be in fart tier. But yeah, this map is just frustrating to play. The only good thing about this map is like the atmosphere. This map is very scary, but I don't really care if it's scary if it sucks. Shinonuma. I think Shinonuma belongs in C, and I'm gonna put it above Noct. Really, the only two big complaints I have with this map are the randomized perks. I just don't really like that in general, and the actual, like, swamp part of the map, like the water. You move so slow in the water, and it's so just... Other than that, though, I think Shinonuma is well. Got the Wonderwaff, Hellhounds, the Flogger. Absolute classic. Der Reese belongs in A. Obviously added the Pack-a-Punch, teleporters. It also has a really nice layout. I just really like the flow of Der Reese. The reason I'm not putting Der Reese in S is just because by today's standards, it is pretty like bare bones. But I definitely think Der Reese is a pretty solid map. So that wraps up World at War. We're now moving on to Black Ops 1. And obviously we're gonna start with Kino Der Toten. I think Kino belongs in B. I definitely think Kino is a little bit overrated just because a lot of people have a lot of nostalgia for Kino. But looking at this map objectively, it's essentially just Der Reese again. The only things that this map added were the Thunder Gun and Nova Crawlers. So one really, really awesome thing and one shit bitch. It is an absolute classic though, but I do think it is a little bit overrated. 5 is dog shit and belongs in fart tier. I don't know why, but I feel like a lot of zombies YouTubers and a lot of people in the zombies community in general have started to sort of create this illusion that 5 is a good map. And it's absolutely not. 5 is so fucking bad. It's an embarrassment. Literally the only positive thing about this map is that you get to play as JFK. Other than that, this map is... Moving on, we have a very, very unpopular opinion, and I think it's funny because I think people might get mad. We have Ascension, and Ascension, to me, belongs in S. Whereas most people have a lot of nostalgia for Kino, Der Toten, maybe Noct, my nostalgia lies with Ascension. Ever since the first time I played this map, I've absolutely loved it. Obviously, it's one of the easiest zombies maps of all time, so it can get kind of boring. But also, every now and then, you kind of just want to sit back and kill some zombies, man. Absolutely incredible setting. We also see the Thunder Gun return. We also see Gersh devices for the first time, and what the other things, too. But the Gersh devices are what actually matter. We see a nice innovation with the monkey rounds, which a lot of people aren't a huge fan of, and I get it because, you know, they take your perks, and that's kind of not fantastic. But at the same time, the only time that's really a problem is if they take your quick revive, and if you really need quick revive on Ascension, that's on you, bud. Also saw the introduction of Stamina Up and PhD Flopper, two absolute classics. And also the black and white until you turn the power on gimmick on this map is nice. Overall, Ascension's fucking awesome. Shangri-La. I think Shangri-La belongs in C, and I'm gonna put it between Shino Numa and Noct. Shangri-La is absolutely gorgeous, and also the wonder weapon of the map is the baby gun. And that is funny. That being said, this map is extremely frustrating to play, but the map is very unique. It offers a nice challenge. Moon. This is going to be another one that I'm going to get yelled at for, but I also think Moon belongs in S. Moon is easily one of the most polarizing maps in Call of Duty Zombies, but I think this map is absolutely banging. You can get Jug and Pack-a-Punch before round 1. Biodome is sick. Cosmonaut is kind of ass. But also, you got the Wave Gun, which is literally my second favorite wonder weapon of all time. Also, I don't know if I mentioned this, like, I don't know if you guys know this, but you're on the moon. So this map definitely gains some points just off setting alone. So that wraps up Black Ops 1, and now we're moving on to Black Ops 2. I mean, Transit is an absolute dumpster fire. Come on, I'm gonna put Transit at the top of fart tier. Yes, at the top of fart tier. That's how fucking bad 5 is. Since these 3 survival maps are a part of Transit, I'm just gonna rank them right now. We're just gonna start with the worst one, which is Bus Depot. I just kind of think Bus Depot is Noct, but just a little bit worse. So that's where I'm gonna put it. It's going in C, right below Noct. Then we have Farm. I feel like Farm gets a little bit of hate just because, I mean, I kind of get it because, like, why would you play Farm when Town exists? But I think Farm is pretty enjoyable. It's not, like, absolutely incredible by any means, but I can hop into Farm and, like, have a pretty good time. So I'm actually going to put Farm at the top of C. Then we have Town. Very similar to Ascension. I have a lot of nostalgia for Town, so I'm actually going to put Town in B, above Kino. I honestly think Town is really close to being like the perfect bare bones survival map. Really the only complaint I have with Town is the lava. Nuketown. I'm gonna put Nuketown in D. I put it at the top of D just because I don't really like hate the map, but I would just rather not play it. I think the layout of the map just doesn't really work for zombies, and the randomized perks don't really help either. All right. This is where I'm gonna get absolutely flamed. As someone who prioritizes gameplay over story a lot, I feel like Mob of the Dead is lacking a bit. I'm not a big fan of the fact that there's like maybe 2 good training spots on this map. The Afterlife thing is actually kind of heat, where you can just hop around and shock stuff. That's fun. The Blundergat / Acid Gat is decently strong, but I really don't think it's strong enough to be like the wonder weapon of the map. I'm also not a huge fan of Electric Cherry because it's just like annoying and it's useless after round 4. I like the Pack-a-Punch process on this map, but it does get a little tedious when you have to refuel the plane every single time you want to go back to the bridge. All of that being said, I honestly think that Mob of the Dead belongs in B. I'm gonna get absolutely fucking torched. I got some dope lighting, to be honest. My setup is a work in progress. Anyway, Buried. I like Buried. I'm gonna put it in A, right above Der Toten. Obviously, it's super easy. It's one of the easiest zombies maps ever, but it's just fun to play. You can fly around with the wonder weapon. You have a giant guy that just builds stuff. There's also a maze to get to Pack-a-Punch, and that's sick. I really like the maze. And also, on Buried and Only Buried, for some reason, you have Vulture Aid. Admittedly, not really one of the best perks, but I like Vulture Aid. I think it's fun. That wraps up Black Ops 2. So now we're moving on to Black Ops 3. And these first two maps are what I consider to be the titans of Call of Duty Black Ops Zombies. Shadows of Evil and Der Eisendrache. I mean, let's just get both of these up here right now. These, to me, are easily the two best maps ever. For the longest time, I always thought that DE was just the best Zombies map, period. At least to me. And I fucking love DE, man. Like, off the top of my head, I can think of 0 complaints that I have with that map. But sort of recently, I was playing Shadows of Evil a bunch because I had to get that round 100 on twitch.tv. Go follow me on Twitch. The link is in the description. I was playing Shadows of Evil, and I realized that everything that I just said about DE also applies to Shadows of Evil. However, Shadows of Evil has an incredible atmosphere. It has a layout that to me is literally perfect, has my favorite wonder weapon of all time, the Apothicon Servant, and the Apothicon Sword, and it also has Beast Mode, where you can run around, shock stuff. Yeah. So after much deliberation and careful thought, I think Shadows of Evil beats Der Eisendrache by just a little bit. It is a little bit upsetting to see this absolute titan get knocked off the podium, but at least in my mind, those two maps are still very like neck and neck. Both of these maps are absolutely incredible and easily my favorite two maps in Call of Duty Zombies. Gorod Krovi belongs in A. Kind of similar to Origins, I haven't really learned all the ins and outs of Gorod Krovi, but I know Gorod Krovi far better than I know Origins, and that's why I actually feel like I can give it a pretty fair rating. Gorod Krovi is just a badass Zombies map, man. There's dragons. It's fucking... That's awesome, but Gorod Krovi is just a really solid map. Revelations. Revelations gets a lot of hate just because it didn't really add anything new, and there are only 2 like original areas on the map. It is a really easy map, so it can get kind of boring, but generally, I think it's an enjoyable experience. Revelations belongs in B, right between Town and Mob of the Dead. That wraps up Black Ops 3, so now we're gonna move on to Cold War because haven't played. So we're gonna get the vast majority of the negativity out of the way just right off the bat. Outbreak, bottom of fart tier. Easily the least enjoyable Zombies experience I've ever had. While maps like 5, Transit, and Verrucht are bad, Outbreak is just so fucking mind-numbingly boring because you spend 90% of your time playing Outbreak just running to the objective. So now let's get to the respectable maps in Cold War. We're gonna start with D Machine. I think D Machine belongs in B, right above Kino. I think D Machine is just a really solid starting map. It has a garbage-ass wonder weapon, but other than that, I don't really have any problems with the map. Firebase Z is definitely the worst round-based map in Cold War. It's not really a bad map, but it's just like so unbelievably average. I'm gonna put Firebase Z at the top of C, right above Farm. Kino Der Toten, on the other hand, is a very enjoyable map. I'm gonna put Mauer at the bottom of A. Has an absolutely incredible wonder weapon, easily the best one in all of Cold War. I also made it to round 100 on this map in 2 hours, so that actually makes me curious. I'm gonna look up what the world record round 100 speed run is on Kino Der Toten. Using the Rampage Inducer, I think I'm in 3rd place in the world. Honestly, I might just submit my gameplay just because why not? Anyway, moving on. Here we have the final map, Forsaken. I'm gonna put Forsaken at the bottom of B. I'm gonna put both of them there because it's funny. If anyone watched my round 100 stream on Forsaken, you would know that I did not have a fantastic time. I went down literally like 7 fucking times just because of abominations. The map really is just fine. Like, it is just the smallest little bit above average. But this is my final complete Call of Duty Black Ops Zombies map tier list. As I believe I said at the beginning of the video, I definitely made some people upset. As I said, this list is completely subjective. These are my opinions. This is my tier list. If you don't like it, Okay. Anyway, feel free to absolutely just torch me down in the comments. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you in 2022.